G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where I get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but of course I have to spend time with my two idiot mates, or share the mic time with my two idiot mates. First off, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
Hey.
Share the mic, eh? Is it that hard, is it?
It's difficult. It's difficult.
It's difficult.
You two blokes bring me down. You know, I'm an eagle trying to soar, just way down.
And then there's a couple of pigeons.
Weighed down by a couple of pigeons. At least we can talk about you.
Well, let's bring in. Let's bring in the other. Oh, go on, BP. We're going to say something.
I was going to say, bring in the other pigeon.
Bring in the other pigeon.
He's already in.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine.
He had a
purr.
pigeon voice that could make a.
Reminds me, actually, back in the day, working at Blue Sky Marine or Blue Sky Composites on my CV. Myself and Selby Carmody, we're down in the bilge of this prey boat. No, you didn't wear masks or anything like that, just doing a bit of laminating and stuff. Yeah, we came out talking like pigeons.
That's true.
High as a kite.
Yeah. Got to be careful.
Yeah. G'day, gents.
G'day. How you going?
Another week. Here we go.
Boys.
Another week.
Boys.
Oh.
I got to share you some, got a wonderful wife, happy life at home, but she's different. My wife, very special. I've been rewatching Letterkenny, and I got to season. I'm on season 6 where they had the Dick family. Where they Noah Dick and Anita Dick and Lavina Dick or Lavina Dick, and then the Charity Dick and Chastity Dick. When the little Dick slipped out, and and I'm giggling my head off, and my wife's just going, "It's not. What's funny? What's so funny about this Letter to Kenny show?" And I'm just going, "Oh, this is the funniest show that's ever been on TV." And
mate, you would have been in your prime, sitting back watching Letterkenny. I mean, Easter's just passed. There'd be you would have done all your chocolate eggs. That's definitely one.
Smashed a few rum bunnies and whacked a bit of Letterkenny on.
Yeah. Have you kept on the rum bunny tradition since Easter?
I've got one in the fridge. I'm gonna go and get Jack's gonna have a go. She's gonna have a go. So we're gonna film it. I think we might do a few little photos.
Oh, yeah, nice. Well, I've introduced it to my children, so that's going well. The old the rabbit ears off the red tulip came adrift, filled her up with milk.
Oh, milk.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Milky Bunny. The Milky Bunny. The Milky Bunny.
Oh, dear.
Very good.
I love it. All right, well, better bring in our guest, hey boys. This is because this is one I'm really keen to get going.
Well, it's the kickstart to the season. Looking forward to the French season. I've just let the cat out of the bag.
Oh,
go on.
You've done it, BP.
I know.
We love. Yeah, you're right. We love the French season of sailing and what they do in their little sailing world. So I guess this week is he's got a great YouTube page. Where he's doing all sorts of footage and video. The Sailing Frenchman. We had him on the show, episode 143. It is a fantastic episode. The man is an adventurer, having a lot of fun and doing some amazing things. And we haven't spoken to him for a couple of years, and he's been quite busy. He's taken on the role as boat captain on one of the Class 40s, and there's a new race, a transatlantic race that starts literally as we publish. So it's going. As we go to air, the new race, the Niji 40 race, starts that day. Okay, on the Sunday, and so we wanted to get him on the show. Now he's sailing on a brand new boat, Dékuple It's skippered by yes, French pronunciation.
And this isn't only the best pronunciation you'll hear.
Stand by.
So this is William Mathelin-Moreaux. He's the skipper of this boat, and our guest has been working with him for the last few years. It's 3 people doing. It's a 3 crew situation for this race. So Davy Beaudart is the other sailor. Yeah, go and laugh. I'm not French, got no French background, and so that's why we're trying to do more. But anyway, we really are very sort of excited because we know he's a great chat, and we want to welcome him to the show. So please welcome Hugo Picard. Hugo, it's great to have you back on Barcarati, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah. Mate, we were blown away by your episode when we spoke to you a couple of years ago. And since then, you've been a busy boy. Obviously, you know, you did your mini Transat and had a bit of adventure. And now you're boat captain or préparatoire. Is that how you say it in French? How do you say it?
Préparateur. Yeah, pretty much.
Préparateur.
A bit like you, Jordan, with Barcarati. You're the préparatoire.
Préparatoire. You're the guy that organised shit, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For the Class 40 Dékuple. Obviously we've got, starting as this goes to air, just as we're about to put this to air, make sure you switch on because the Niji 40, which is a new Transatlantic race, starts.
Yep.
It's we wanted to. One, I don't know about the other 2, but I love the 40s. I love the Class 40. They're my favourite boat to watch bounce around on the water. New race, old friend. Why not have a chat? It's perfect. So tell us what you've been doing for a few years, mate. Tell us how you got to where we are today.
Well, last time we chatted, I was about to take the start of the mini Transat that I did. And after this, I went and, did different jobs on Class 40s and ended up meeting William, who has an ongoing Class 40 project. And I started working as préparateur, as we call it in France, or boat captain for him. Préparateur is kind of and boat captain is a pretty word to, especially in the Class 40, you basically take care of the boat when it's not racing. And this implies a lot of work before the races, after the races, doing the winter refit. And I mean, we can chat more about this later on, especially because we had a new boat this year. And this, you take a project from the start, from the drawing board, and you're like, okay, let's do this or let's do that, and look into different topics just to create a boat as close as the skipper's expectation as possible. So yeah, super interesting, and been with him for 2 years, and this year is crew year, so I'll be on board for 2 Transat races. So that's pretty cool.
When you say crew year, Hugo, just maybe explain to the listeners what that means in specifically Class 40 world.
So Class 40, a little bit like the beanies, they designed to be single-ended or double-ended maximum. That these boats are meant for. And crew year mean we're 3 people on board. It gives the opportunity.
It's sort of French for making friends here.
Exactly.
Or not, for that matter.
Yeah. So this race this goes to air, you'll be all in your wet weather gear, ready to go.
Yes.
Looks like, and I'm not doing weather forecasts anymore, but it looks like you're going to be bashing up wind for a day or 2, and then it turns into perfect conditions.
Well, I can tell you what it looks like outside my window right now.
Oh, here we go. BP's weather.
What a segue. No, go on.
Yeah, no, the weather is going to be a bit challenging for this race to start with, for sure. The model are still not quite aligned. Let's see. We also did not have the final brief with the race committee to see. They always have the option to put for now the southern point we have before Guadeloupe is the Azores.
Oh yeah.
if they see anything big or whatever, they might put another mark a bit further south.
Yep.
We don't notice because that's a trend we can, even from last year, Transat Jacques Vabre. Something we're observing is that, the race committees are more and more prone to, try not to send boats into too heavy conditions because the boats are getting faster and faster, but they're also getting lighter and lighter. And that has a con, which is fragility, and that the boats are more tend to break. So we'll see. Okay. But yeah, there's going to be definitely a few days that are going to be tough. And we'll see what we find on the water.
Okay, so let's talk about the boats for a bit because they're super cool, right? It's Class 40 is a box rule, 40-foot boat, and so you can design, and that's how we've ended up with these scows. I think there's an element in the rule about keeping costs down, so I don't think you run carbon on those things.
No.
And yeah, like the boat that you're going, so Dékuple is brand new. So you've been a busy man. You and BP have got some very similar experiences lately. And it's the sister ship to Alla Gran Pirelli, which was the boat that just won the TJV.
Yes, correct.
So is that Gianluca Guelfi? Is that it? Is the designer?
Yeah, that's the architect. Yeah, and it's pretty amazing because it's his first boat.
Yeah, right.
It's his first production boat, and yeah. It's it's the fourth boat of the series. Ambrogio as the first one and just won the Transat Jacques Vabre with it. So it's definitely a fast boat. Ambrogio is also an amazing sailor. So, it's not only the boat, definitely, but the boat is really fast, and it's really, boat is always, when you take off something, you need to add something. You cannot have a boat that is great in all conditions,
right?
But this boat manages to be really light, is super well balanced. The really good point of having a look at this is looking at the videos from the start of the Transat Jacques Vabre. The first 10 minutes, they have they have kind of a dog leg.
Yes,
you see the boat, so cool. And both, it was crazy. But when you look at the boats, you have Ambrogio's boat and Alberto Riva's boat, which are two Musa 40.
Yeah.
They just behave on the water really different.
Yep.
They push more or less water. They slow down less. Even though all of them are surfing, these boats are just slightly faster.
Yeah.
So and it's really beautiful boat, really interesting design and build. I spent almost a month in Italy at the beginning of the year, 2 months ago, to help finish off the boat and start, installing all the hardware and everything. And so San Giorgio Marine, the guys are working really well, and it's a 3-way infusion process that makes the boat more resistant and lighter. Because, as you said, it's a box rule, so the Class 40 must not weigh less than 4.5 tons.
Yeah.
But the lighter you build the hull, the more lead you can put into the keel. So the more riding momentum you have, so the more sail you can put up and be faster. So it's all adding up.
Have you made any advancements given that this is boat 2 or the next in line, like lessons learned from
definitely
Pirelli?
So we've been lucky to have it's actually hull number 4.
Yeah,
it's hull number 4 of that one. And we definitely, we made some changes, and we also used there are some structural problems at the beginning that were fixed on our boat to start with, and it's a great thing because we put the boat in the water 3 weeks ago. And we've been able to sail about 5 days since then, and we're gonna cross the Atlantic in 3 days. So
baptism of fire, nothing like jumping in the deep end, Hugo.
I believe there's a bit of a saying we specifically have, definitely in Australia. Not sure how it translates in French.
I know,
but it goes a little like this: bite off more than you can chew, and chew like fuck.
Okay, I don't know the translation in French either, but I see the point. Well, we'll see. This Transat will be the here we say debugging the boat. So taking off the bugs like a programmer would do on the software. They run it and look what crashes. Well, that will be the first Transat for us.
It's a big process. I can say from experience, it takes a long time. If you've got the good part is with you being the préparatoire, you're going to learn a lot from that as well. So you're going to be able to pull that into the work project, and you'll be able to take notes over and above what the other two will do because they'll just be thinking about sailing. You know what they're like, sailors.
So like on the Namorca, there's a few one design elements. In the Class 40, is there any one design elements in the boat that you have to have on the boat? Like
no.
Namorca's a mast. You have to have the standard mast sort of thing, but you don't.
Yeah, well, in Class 40, you don't have to have a one design mast, but there is basically two suppliers of mast. So we almost all have the same mast. The only difference is gonna be the same builder, but some will be two spreaders and some will be only one spreader, one set of spreader. But no, there's no one design part. It's always the box rules that goes with everything. As you said, no carbon except for the mast and the spars and the bowsprit basically. So you're not allowed foils.
No.
You're only allowed two moving appendages. So it's going to be most of the time two rudders, even though Vincent Rioux just came up with a Class 40 coming out of the mold of the Pogo S2 that has only one rudder, and it has this trim thing on the keel, like the old America's Cup boat. So it just put it in the water a few weeks ago. So let's see how this goes. So it's interesting to see how people approach the problem of this box row.
Yeah, that's very cool. So obviously it's not a canting keel. So the speed of these things and the way they sail is an evolution of traditional sailing boats in that, no canting keel, no foils. But still, they're rocket ships, like they just the coolest boats. Obviously, the scow shape has taken over, much to BP's disgust. And I think BP even points this out. They go upwind really well these days, with the scow as well.
Yeah, just because it's a little bit like even the mini scows. You put them to an equivalent size boat with a pointy nose, that they just go upwind much better. Just because they're much lighter. They have more weight in the keel and they have more righting momentum, so you can put more sail up, and all these translate into better wind condition. It's an horrible experience. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it's horrible.
Super flat. Going upwind with this boat is horrible. Right. They're super flat, so they bang super hard. Every second wave, you're wondering if the rig is going to come down or not. On you, it's extremely noisy, even though it's not carbon. It's super noisy. But the upwind performance is the performance of a race boat that's really light and put on steroids. So
I'm just as we're chatting here, guys. I'm looking at an article in Sailing News called "The 50 Shades of Scow." And the evolution of the Class 40 and the scow when the first one came in, and you can literally see the growth till it reaches a limit, and then they've gone a bit too far. They did it up a bit tight, back it off half a turn, stripped it, and then just slowly winding back just to find that equilibrium. But amazing. And I mean, majority of people know what it does and just the power that it produces. And literally it's a 40-footer sailing like with performance of a 50-footer, right?
Yeah, and what's really when you sail these boats, and for me, I was coming from a mini that was a scow, and then you get onto this 40-footer that is really flat. When you see the boat out of the water, it's a windsurf basically with a keel. It's completely flat, and especially this new Musa 40, around 8 9 knots of boat speed, we start planning. So it completely changes the way you operate the boat and the way you sail it, because you're not pushing any more water. So you instantly creating much more apparent. We rarely with these boats sail lower than 142, 143 true wind angle.
Right.
So
no Chinese
it changes
jibes.
the way.
Couple of French ones.
It changes, the way you approach the race, and the amount of jibes you do, and which the weather systems you're going for. It's a really different sailing experience.
What about, like you said, it's uncomfortable upwind? Is it like just so much fun downwind? Like, are you just so happy the whole time?
Yes. So first, and it's not something that is to be underestimated, is the comfort of not being scared to broach. These boats, they do broach because you always push them as much as possible. But even if they broach, you ease the main, you pull on the rudder, and they come back.
Yeah.
It's not this being constantly worried that say it's like a big mini, really. You put it on the autopilot, you shoot a bit more on the spinnaker, and you go boil some water on the jet boil to make yourself a freeze-dried food. It's not like you're constantly worried, and they can be 25 knots. It's okay. And then of course you're pushing because you're racing, so you're always on the limit. But these boats are super stable. We have lots of ballast. On our boat, we have 4 ballasts that we can choose which one to fill. They go basically in the middle of the boat and all the way to the back. And we can fill up to 700 liters of water. So that's a big help. Plus all the sail, everything that we can stack. And it's just really different from traditional boats that push water. These boats go above the water, above the waves, and it's something, when you're steering, it's hard to explain it before you have experienced it. But basically, if you feel that you're gonna, when you're at the top of the wave and you're like, oh no, it's accelerating, and you're gonna plow the bow into the wave. Well, when on a normal boat, you would pull the tiller to actually slow down and go with the wave until you reach again the top. There, you push on the tiller to actually lurch the bow above the wave and gain more speed and accelerate and pass on to the next wave to keep surfing. And that's when you're on the tiller. And really often you put on the autopilot and you keep going faster because the autopilot is not scared.
Autopilot doesn't care.
Yeah. And these autopilots we have inertial centrals, they just big gyroscopes. And they're not scared, as you said. And actually you tell them, okay, I want this much heel angle, I want you to target for speed, and I want to this much degrees more of pushing, and the autopilot doesn't care. It's going to get at the bottom of the wave, push the tiller 10 degrees, the boat is going to lurch on the next wave and keep accelerating. And then you need to, just go to sleep with this. But that's another part of the training.
Do you have a name for your autopilot? Like, is it Big Balls Bob or something like that? Or
Balls Bob.
We'll think about this.
Or Le Big Balls Bob.
What about the alarm? Do you have alarms on board?
No, not on this boat, because one of the things you were saying to keep the coast down is not to be allowed to have tension sensors. Or what you have on IMOCAs and stuff. Like you have them in the pin of your forestay of the D0s and things like this, and that's what's gonna give you a lot of alarms. We're not allowed this, so no alarms.
No alarms.
Cheaper than a rig coming down, I guess. No, just jokes. Have there been many documented damages to these boats, or the actual rule as it stands is good? It produces a robust boat. You're not dropping sticks or keels aren't falling off. How's that look?
It is a robust boat. Main issues that have been found in the past years, especially with the development of scow bows is first on the structure of the hull. Well, the lighter you try to build, the more you try to reduce the material and the fiberglass you put in and everything. So across the fleet, really often when you get like strong, 1 week beating upwind into 35 knots, you get some delamination on the bulkheads, you get these kind of structural problems, especially since more and more the architects are going like a little bit like F1. They try to build the lightest possible, and then they reinforce where the breakage happens. Instead of going like, okay, we're going to go for something super strong and reinforce everything and then have something that's heavier, they go for super light and then see what breaks and compensate on this.
Wow.
And the second thing is that the boats have become much more powerful with the scow. And where you had a rig that was dimensioned to be perfectly fine, and the rig is actually not the problem really often, is the hooks, the connection, so in between the forestay and the mast, and the forestay and the furler at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's been lots of failure in the last few years on these, and that's a problem you find across the fleets. It's the same in IMOCA, it's the same in everything, because it's not so much the workload, it's the shock load. It means when you're going 28 knots and suddenly the bow plunges, and then you have spinnaker full forward, and the shock load is huge. So yeah, that has been the two main things: structures and piece of the rig, stainless bits that are really hard to survey. So these kind of things, but they still really really powerful and strong boats.
What are the boats built out of? If you're not doing carbon, what are they? An epoxy structure with like e-glass?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, so it's foam with a little bit of fiberglass epoxy on both sides.
Yeah, copy. Okay.
But it's like really the boats
right?
now. When you step on the deck, you feel the deck doing a little bit this, and if you're sitting on the hull on big waves, you're gonna feel the waves under you. It's it's like the bamboo thing, if it flexes, it doesn't wreck. Well, I guess.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, because it doesn't have that carbon feel. Yeah, copy. Yeah. It's exciting though, isn't it? Like the way that class has evolved. Like I think, as we said, we all watched that. I think it was the TJV, that start where you were talking about with the dog leg, and we all watched that. And then at the start of the Fastnet, when it was really windy, like we tune in for all the boats, but the IMOCAs and the Class 40s were just super cool, because they look fantastic, like they look controllable, they look sensible, like a IMOCA 60's a lot of boat. The old teams is a ridiculous amount of boat for one person, but with a 40 it looks pretty doable. The only thing, the way my brain works, and the boys will get a chuckle out of this, have you considered putting like a coach house on it and going cruising?
Well, that's the thing, when you look at cool boats to go cruising, you look at the old Class 40 and it's like, yeah, but now the new ones, they're horrible. And especially with a scow, I have lots of friends who tell me but why you don't, why isn't there like scow bow in cruising?
Yeah.
It's it's horribly noisy. Like just being in the harbor.
Hugo, whoa. Be careful, because your friend Benoit Marie, he won't like you to say this about the score 11.4. Now, you want to see a boat with a coach house on it? That's got one.
Yeah, well, I keep asking him to lend me the small one, the Mojito 650.
Yeah.
The cruising version of the 650. Yeah. I'll test it and I'll let you know how noisy it is.
Well, you're the expert, mate, because obviously you started out just restoring an old 50-year-old boat, I think, doing all that cruising. So if you're saying it's not the boat to go cruising on, because what if you just sail downwind everywhere? It's perfect, surely.
You'd end up with the catamarans in the wall down in the Pacific somewhere.
Exactly. Anything can sail
just banging into the wall.
I love it. All right, well, so one of the clever things about this year for the class with the 40s is that obviously we do the Niji 40 this race, takes you over the Caribbean. Then you're going to do a series of races up the east coast of the US. And then...
one race, the Atlantic Cup.
Oh, the Atlantic Cup, yeah. And then that gets you to do the race to St. Malo. Is it Vancouver to St. Malo? I'm just trying to remember.
Quebec.
Yeah.
Quebec,
Vancouver.
St. Malo,
Vancouver is
oldest Transat.
It's quite the journey.
Yeah, Vancouver would be a big one. I mean, you might have something, huh? They go for bigger races all the time. You might be onto something.
You got to go through the canal, so you got to be on with the shipping.
Yeah.
Short tacking.
But anyway, so it's a nice, clever loop because it gets you, you do basically a circle around the Atlantic in the clockwise direction, and of course that race to St. Malo, obviously, the way the tides work, you can get some pretty rocket ship times going across the top there. So, that's where you set speed records up there.
Well, yeah, we're definitely going for this. I mean, this year is ticking off lots of boxes for me. Recently, the Class 40, the mini class as well, I've been talking about, sustainability and how to get, better at what they're doing regarding to environment and everything. And a lot of races, these days you sail to the Caribbean and then ship the boat back.
Yeah.
And because, it's normal when you're a skipper, you're struggling to get budget, to get your boat on the line, etc. Sailing the boat back is cheaper, paying 2 guys or 3 guys plus the food to sail back is definitely cheaper, but it's a lot of wear and tear on the boat, on the sails, lots of risk, plus the insurance, etc. So the incentive of sailing the boat back versus shipping it back on a container ship is not great. The Class 40 is a boat perfectly capable of sailing back the North Atlantic, and having these, 2 races back and forth definitely makes sense, and it's great for also people that have a sponsor that's operating on both sides of the Atlantic. You get through New York, you get through all these iconic places, Newport as well, get to Quebec and then race back. So that's pretty cool. And as well, as I was mentioning before, I'm the boat captain or préparateur on the Class 40. I do all the deliveries. I do some, import races where we're 2-3 people on board. But most races, I'm not on board while I'm working year round on the boat. And this year we have 2 races where it's 3-4 people on board. And so I get to be on the boat and race. And as you said, I get feedback on the boat. And not just only for me, but if all the people who are working on a daily basis on the boats get all this feedback, they're just going to get better on the job, and the boats are going to get better. And I think it's a positive,
good point.
Fitting.
Good point.
Circle.
Time on the water, you learn a lot from what's going on, and you look at the work you've done also, and pat yourself on the back a bit. God, geez, look at that. I did that. How good's that?
Finally, time on the water, so it's good.
Yeah, you can see it, mate. You can see you're into it, so that's good. Obviously, the skipper of the boat is William. William, obviously, we hope for him. Yep, go on, sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You pronounced his name correctly. I was scared to say the name because I didn't want to get it wrong. But
Mathelin-Moreaux, yeah.
See, I would have said nothing like that.
I want to hear your attempt. Come on.
Exactly it.
Come on, Jay.
Shall we do the Aussie version? William Mathelin-Moreaux.
That's perfect.
Oh,
That's a word.
Matty.
But but is there an X on the end? You missed the X.
Marocs.
No, we're not picking on you, William.
No. So obviously, he's been doing the Class 40 for a while. This is the second boat, I think, for William. So he's got a good third. Okay, so he's got a good sponsorship. Yeah. I remember him being the youngest. Was he youngest skipper in the
on the Route du Rhum? Yeah.
Yeah, Route du Rhum. That's it. Yeah. So into it. What's it like working with William? Like, how did you guys get to know each other?
So we got to know each other so after my mini transat. So we arrived in Guadeloupe. The mini transat boats, they're going back on a cargo ship. That's not great, but obviously sailing back Atlantic North with a mini is not something really advisable. So fair enough, put the boat on the cargo ship. And then I was in touch with Mathieu Perrault, who's sailing on Inter-Invest on class 40. Mm-hmm. And now he's switching from class 40 to Ocean 50, the trimarans, 50 foot. But yeah, so back then he had just done the Transatlantic with William, and I took the boat and sailed it back across from Guadeloupe. And so we didn't met at that point, but when we went back, he was starting his project, and he was looking for a boat captain, and I was working with Mathieu Perrault, and he put us in touch, and it worked out well. So to your other question was how is it to work with him? It's really cool. So our tempers kind of match. And he's super involved he's an architect, so he's super involved in the design. He really likes working on the boat as well, so it's a good synergy there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's always tricky when you're a skipper and at the same time boat captain, because you need to find that balance of what you're in charge of and what you're not, and where you need to step in or not. And yeah, no, it's definitely cool working with him. And from the start, the idea was that I would be involved in the sailing as well. And I don't know, if some people are listening to us, and it's super interesting, this position of boat captain, because I really like working on boats, doing the technical work. I really like racing as well. And so being on the boat, sailing with people that are much more experienced than you, and being able to go training with them. For example, a training session here in Lorient, we go out 4, 5, 8, 9, 10 class 40s, and we have a coach with us on the rib. And so everyone gets in line, everyone gets upwind, and we try to do sail changes. So to have a look at, the sail trim, what difference, or the coach says, okay, half of you feel the forward ballast, half of you feel the aft ballast, and we see what changes make the speed difference. And being able to look at all these is, for me, super interesting. You learn a lot. And so as a younger sailor and you have big names now in the class 40, it's super interesting to be in the middle of this.
That's just full dinghy training sessions, and you're doing that with class 40. Amazing.
Yeah.
What have you from those sessions, given that you've sailed a massive 5 days now prior to it, are there some things that have surprised you, or things that
good question,
have really jumped out, like, it's never going to work putting weight in the bow, but then all of a sudden something you take off?
So not regarding this boat, really often is how much not having more canvas on, having more canvas on not necessarily makes you faster.
Yeah.
You always have this sailing body that is like, I never shake a reef. I always put the bigger spinnaker, and no, it's not the way it works. Really often, you need to find a point where the boat pushes less water. And this, especially going downwind, you need to be able to analyze the sea state and know your boat enough to how much canvas you put out. And so basically on this kind of boats, it's taking reefs early, so having less power in the main pushes the boat less forward, and you are able to leave the bow and get the bow across the waves rather than in the wave and plunging.
Sure. I love it. Yeah. That is pretty critical, that whole element of understanding your rig, sailing at its basic level is power versus drag. And so, understanding that you're just keeping all that power up is just getting more and more draggy and slower. People need to understand that. And so, but the whole concept of pulling it out of the mainsail to keep the bow up, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So I don't think a lot of people would take it out, because it's easier to furl up front sails because everything's on a furler.
Exactly.
So understanding that, very interesting.
Just a little one, as I'm just doing a bit of study as we interview here.
He's watching videos of class 40s in the background.
No, I'm looking at the class rules.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want a simple class rule.
Here we go.
Is very easy to understand. I mean, I'm comparing it to, say, my experience with the Volvo 65 one design rule, which doesn't need a rule. It's one design, right?
Yeah. Just don't do this.
Is a rule about a box, and that's literally it. It's just the main dimensions.
Well, it's similar to the Mini. Same.
Very definitely worth a look. The interesting one, of course, is max being 4.5 meters for a 12-meter yacht. Isn't that amazing how that's advanced? Say a Volvo 70 from memory is 5.7 for a 70-foot yacht. So we're talking, and when you do see these boats, it's pretty phenomenal what they've done. So, and there's probably still more room to move inside the rule, Hugo, right?
Yesterday
not to the
was
maximum dimensions, but to everything.
Yeah, no, but there's definitely now the big argument inside the class is in between furling J1 and hooked J1. So basically, now the fleet is mainly with furled J1. So you have a J1 that has buttons that are not vertical, but almost, so they're able to furl. And basically, your J1 is fixed. You cannot lower it. So there's lashing on top, there's lashing on the bottom. You furl it, and that's it. It's great because it's easy to maneuver when you're single-handed and all that. Now there is more boats, and it started with Jan Lipinski, who had the first cowbow in the 40s, and now Alagrande and lots of the Italian guys have it, and we have it now. Is a hooked J1, so it's textile, soft shackles, onto a fixed hanged J1, and the way the rule is done is that you need to measure your mainsail and your J1, and all these has to be no more than, I think, 115 square meters. But now, with your furl J1, the way you calculate it is from the tack to the halyard point to the clue point, and this makes a triangle. And this is what is taken into account into the measurement. Now, put a hang J1, you're able to put buttons horizontally. And so you're able to gain
the roach.
The roach, And this way, so the J1s that are hanged are almost 1.5 square meter more than so it's always where you play. And now there's big argument in the class into how it is measured. So it's probably going to change soon. So you can choose, because there is pros and cons on both systems. But at least that everyone has the same size J1, and then you can choose something that's easier, but that makes more windage and more weight in the height. That's easier to maneuver, and so all this.
So I'll just put my view there. You have to go forward to the mast, but if it's hanged, it's not coming on my boat. No, I'll be.
Let's just reassess that.
I'm not getting out of that cockpit.
When is your class 40 debut?
My debut. It could be a way off, BP.
So there won't be definitely no going forward to the mast.
No, that's right. That's just crazy talk. I don't even know what it's called up there. I don't know what happens up there. So that's crazy talk. So whilst we just go back to the race for 1 sec, is it going to be broadcast? Are we able to? Do you know?
So there is a race tracker, Niji 40, onto their website, and I don't know. We're sending off some material. Of course, most of the fleet is getting onto Starlink. So sorry, Sky, but it's so much cheaper for so much data. That we'll be sending off some data. So the Niji 40 is going to broadcast stuff. William's Instagram account will be posted, and I'm bringing a drone on board, so we'll get some really nice sailing footage.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And you've sent me a couple of videos this morning, which I'll put for the listener. I'll attach them to the Facebook page and see if I can get them on the Instagram page. So attached to this article, so you can see the boat. The race starts. Is it I guess in English it's Beautiful Island.
It is.
Yeah. It's just a little island off the coast. I guess just directly west of Nantes.
So we're sailing there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow at 1 we start. We have a little parade sail and we sail down there. We have two days and a half on the island. Get ready, and on Sunday at 1 p.m. we start.
Yeah, it's Belle and Mer. Bill.
Yep.
Yeah, you're just so kind to me,
Betty
mate. You are so kind to me.
Not like us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You wait till the wrap up of this show.
Yeah.
We might do it in French.
Well, and obviously they end up in Guadeloupe, which is
actually we don't end up in Guadeloupe. I mean, we end up in Guadeloupe, but in Marie-Galante, which is also a really small island, really next to Guadeloupe, which is awesome. It's one of my favorite Caribbean islands.
Yeah,
it's really, really small, just really nice waters in there. So it's pretty stoked to arrive there.
It's
so different than.
My wife and I's one of our favourite TV shows called Death in Paradise, which is filmed in Guadeloupe and all those little islands around there. You know, like it's
okay
English-French production. Mate, if it's on while you're there, get in the background. Like it'd be so.
Give a little thumbs up.
Hold up a sign. Hello, Jackie.
But I mean, if
you're abstract sometimes, Jordan.
I tell you, if I was doing one of these events, I'd be going right. We're in Guadeloupe now, and I'm going to get on this TV show for sure. It'd be my goal. So.
Well, you were on Home and Away, so I guess it's in your blood.
No. All right. Okay. So from the prospect of the race, like you said, the weather modelling is sort of a little diverse. So at the moment, just random, just having a look at one model, it looks like you'll be on the nose a few days, and so you'll stay in the bay a little bit. I doubt you'll pop out. Okay, there we go. Head rocking.
Yeah, well, there's two options. Really, one will be going to be hugging Cape Finisterre, and one option that has us going like straight west to get the front as soon as possible, and then head south. So it's all gonna depend on the timing of that low pressure.
Yep.
And it's also after there's another kind of tipping point of the race. I guess that will be just after the Azores. Yep. There is another low going pretty south, and again, you chose to go hit the front quickly and go down, or try to get the south route when you're more consistent wind. It's going to be tricky. It's going to be lots of and the crude races are always.
I'm just having a little bit of a look at it here at the moment. It is going to be tricky. It's going to be very tricky. It's going to be. I mean, obviously, it's not as good as the normal modelling. I'm just running my predict wind here, but it's it looks very interesting, and Finisterre in a couple of days' time. Oof.
Yeah,
could be interesting.
Lots of red, right?
Yeah,
lots of red.
Yeah, there's lots of red.
Yeah. And it doesn't. It's not the red that It's the direction of the red that's that's the problem.
On the nose. So a bit of slamming. What about when you go to sea with you guys? Is there any sort of, I was going to say, traditions? Is there any things that you sort of must do? I've forgot what's the word?
Superstition.
Superstition.
Yeah.
Oh,
red undies. Definitely no rabbits.
One blue sock, one white sock.
No, not much. The sailing background here is I mean, here when I say here is in Brittany, in Bretagne, in France, in Lorient. It's it's really changing from kind of old sea dogs when you get these old timers like Jean Le Cam, all these sailing legends, to young blokes like William, many older, young blokes doing the Figaro. They just athletes. They done dinghy, they done optimist, they done laser, and then they just keep going up, and they just athletes, and their only focus is the race, and well, for some it's a pity, for other but there's a lot less partying. There's a lot less people in the bar the night before or the night after. I'm not going to say if it's great or not, but it's just people that are, it's they do sailing like they would do, I don't know, other sports, and they have a super rational view on these, and they're more going to talk about like the kind of freeze dried food that they're going to bring, or the kind of smokes that they're going to have, than whether we live on the 13th of the month, or if they bring bananas aboard or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting shift into the way they approach sailing, but also in the way they find funds. You have more and more companies in France that just put, I don't know if you know the newsletter Tip and Shaft. More and more companies are just writing offers saying like, look, we have budget to buy a boat and run a 40 campaign for 3 years. We're looking for a skipper, which are these criterias, and the background is changing, and the environment is changing, and it's interesting to watch.
It's cool. Definitely the mecca of yachting. We have said it quite often, that how different it is, and the reason it's so successful, exactly what you say, that companies are actually advertising and looking for projects. Could you imagine that? Yeah. Could you imagine in Australia a company looking for a project?
Well,
I've got $1 million. I've got $1 million for the next 3 years. Go and get what you want and take it on, and then we'll just say thank you at the end of it.
It is interesting. Even like as an example, the sponsor of your boat, Dékuple, is it's a digital marketing agency, like that. That's what they do. They do digital marketing, so they know marketing is what I'm saying, and they see value in the project.
This is it. This is exactly the thing that we're talking about here, is that these companies see value, and I just wish that the world would get on this. And there is other reasons for it, obviously. There's elements of tax and all that stuff which has sort of got removed in Australia. There's a lot of that's been sort of downplayed. But in saying that, there is more return in places.
There is return, and in some big companies they use this a lot, and this has been stepped up since COVID. Is that they use this as a kind of team bonding element through the company. You have companies that are sponsoring a boat, and they also, on virtual regatta, they create their boat, and they have all their employees
virtual regatta,
be on virtual regatta during the races. Because a company that has the headquarters is in Paris, but then they have branches everywhere in France or in the world, they struggle to have something connecting all their employees together, and they use these kind of projects to create some emulation in their teams. Some teams are coming to sail on the boat, on corporate sail, and they have this virtual regatta thing going on. And it's definitely ways to look into to involve people into offshore sailing and involve companies into sponsoring offshore sailing.
I've lost all my value in my sponsor in virtual regatta. I'm on my 7th lap and I've run out of power, so I can't no longer put the internet visuals out.
For the listener though, like one of the fun things when you watch the start to some of these races, if you look at some of the support boats, you'll see that often there'll be sponsors, it'll be staff or guests. There'll be 3 or 4 or 5 really sort of wet people who don't bounce in a boat like we do. They're not as sort of
boaty
practiced as how a boat moves, and you'll see them in the support boat chasing along going, oh wow, and then getting drenched and the whole thing. It's quite you can spot them very clearly, but that's the great use of the program, because they have the most unique experience, rather than just sitting in a corporate box and getting in close. So it is pretty cool. Mate, are you happy? Are you enjoying your life?
I'm super happy to go out at sea because since the beginning of the year I've been working like a lot on the boat. Since we received the boat in Lorient, so it arrived on a truck from Italy where it's been built, and where I've been working to Lorient, and we have it since almost from 1 month day per day, and I've been doing daily, I don't know, 12 15 hour on the boat. So going out on the Transat and race is going to be probably more resting than the past month. So I cannot wait to be in the water.
It's funny that, isn't it? It's funny that
no
you
phones,
get into
no email.
Yeah. Well, the only other thing is you've got the owner and skipper there on the boat with you, so that could be challenging.
Well, that's one of the big thing. It's not the owner. The owner of the boat is not on board. The owner of the boat is an investor. Is someone who buys the boat because he loves sailing, but he's not on board. William is just renting the boat to race, and that changes the perspective greatly.
Mm-hmm. Well, we all know what happens when you get a renter.
Especially red ones.
We'll touch base when we arrive in Guadeloupe.
I love
it. Just keep it. You just leave it in Guadeloupe, mate.
I love it. Cool. All right, I think we might call it there, my friend. We're very happy to have spent some time chatting to you and talking about Class 40s. I'm ecstatic that we had this chance to chat because such cool boats, and you've got a fast one. A proper fast one, even though you've painted it blue, like in Australia, if you want it fast boat, if you want something fast, it's red. Although that joke, remember I did that joke in South Africa, Nick, and that went completely...
You didn't go down. There's one person in the whole room laughing, and it was me at the back table. I'm like, yeah! And
yeah, I didn't get that hosting gig again after. But anyway, so... Look, best of luck.
Yeah, man.
Have a great regatta. Have a great race. And
thank you so much.
Give our love.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's really nice. I don't know. Let's see where I am next time we speak. But any of you, if you come down to Lorient, you're more than welcome to visit the boat, and if we're sailing, come down for a sail.
Yes.
It would be really nice.
Yeah, don't bloody tempt me. I'm just down the road.
Well, the boat won't be there for a little while now, BP. So you can relax.
BP.
Don't worry, I got a lot to do before I'm even thinking about going for a sail on a boat.
I love it. That's very kind, man. We'll definitely be hitting you up at some stage in the next few years. But cool. But be safe. Smash it.
Thank you. You too.
I hope you win by about 200 mile. So yeah.
Oh, he's called it. Nice, Hugo. Thanks, mate.
Good on you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Mate. Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, we touched on it. The Lorient being the mecca of this type of sailing in French, and the money that's available to these guys, and sort of the change of attitude a little bit, if you like, from the old school, the old salt, is getting, these guys are living, breathing sailing, and as Hugo mentioned, they're coming up from optimists to, coming up through the ranks, whereas the back in the day it was basically, as I said, the old salts. But this time of year is really exciting because we're going down this crude year, and it is a huge opportunity for guys like Hugo to go sailing. So that's part of the success of this stuff, because when it's double-handed or single-handed, all of a sudden there's less opportunities, but it's great for them. It's great to get out there.
And they've the class itself has kind of taken a bit of a trajectory. Like if you draw a line from the start to the finish, it finishes quite high, but some lumps and bumps along the way. But where it's at now seems right. Like people love the boats; they're cool boats.
I think you touched on it. I think you touched on it perfectly. How when the scow bow was introduced, and it was like everyone sort of went, "Oh, see how this goes," and they went right to that limit. And now they've come back to what they've found as perfect, and the boat now is doing what it's doing what they knew it could do all along with refinements. It's huge. And
like I said, it's like doing
boats.
up a hose clamp. Do it up till she strips, back it off half a turn.
That is exactly what it's like.
I mean it. The perfect analogy, really.
I love it.
I'm doing hose clamps up at the moment on my boat, so I'll remember that tomorrow. I'll send you the pic of the water ballast system I'm putting in it.
That's cool. Obviously, I knew that.
No, it is.
That whole episode was. I was watching you the whole time, BP, and apart from hearing your stomach grumble, I could see all the correlation that you were going through working on boats.
And admittedly, I haven't sailed a Class 40, but it does itch and niggle in the background. We've
got the offer now. We got an offer after the record. I think
that could be a good marketing angle. In a crude year, we could do the Barcarati, Team Barcarati.
Yep, the Radix Nutrition boat. Oh, how that?
Radix Nutrition.
You're going to have. Oh, there it is.
It's there.
There it is.
You wouldn't go hungry then, BP.
No, I wouldn't go hungry. Wouldn't be sitting around waiting to get dinner.
We're getting a lot of grief from BP. He's hungry. It's dinner time.
I could be eating Radix right now if I could get it here, but
and you should be, because it's faster, simpler, and healthier.
That's it.
A bit like yourself these days. If you do want to grab some Radix Nutrition, obviously quite a few of the sailors in the Niji 40 will be taken on board the Radix. It's the perfect for that adventure. Just go to Radix Nutrition, use Barcarati as the discount code, the one word, Barcarati, and get a discount on us. So other things, boys, there's a bit going on. It's sort of that in-between season, as you said, BP, is kicking off, but there's a few events going on. One, of course, is whilst we're in the Caribbean, we're coming in and out of the Caribbean, there is still regattas going on over there. So the St. Croix International Regatta starts April 18, 31st annual event. So that's got all sorts of cruising divisions and beach cats and multi-hulls and opties and everything. So it's on the US Virgin Islands. So it ties back to our good friend Taylor Canfield, who's chatting to. So one of our good friends from Sailing Rescue Swimmers, Mr. Schaefer, will be there. We'll give him a free plug because he does so much. But yeah, so
has he got his rib back yet from lending it for the Baltimore bridge crash?
Yeah, no, he was publishing some interesting stuff, like all the bottom survey of what's in the water there and stuff. So yeah,
well, what they couldn't see in the water.
Yeah. Other events coming up, obviously French Olympic Week here, 21 to 28 of April.
Yeah,
is a big one. Same time as St. Croix is the Charleston Race Week, which is the 18th to the 21st. So is that a week or a long weekend? Charleston Race Week is coming up.
4 days.
Yeah.
It's over
nearly a week.
Days with a Y in them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And then what else is coming up, gents?
Oh, we've got a big one, boys.
But just before you do go on the big, it kind of feels as though we just had a little lapse of regattas, but now things are firing up Northern Hemisphere. So,
our friends at Sailing NASA, or NASA, depending on how you want to put it, the F-18 sort of series where I think there's the Barcarati boat still going. They've published their summer series. So if you want to jump onto their Instagram page, Sail NASA, SAILNAASA, June 8 to 9, the Wickford Regatta, then June 22 to 23, NASA number 1, and then the F-18 Worlds at the end of June through July. Then there's a whole list of other events. So June it kicks off. But jump onto their Instagram page and have a bit of a look, because especially if you're in that northeast part of the US, definitely plenty going on and to catch there. Cool, huh?
I like it.
Good too. Boys, it's that time of the month.
Is it? Sorry to hear.
Where, of course, we are talking the Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week. And our friends at Vycobi every month give $200 voucher to the best listeners' contribution. And our friends at Vycobi, who we have a very good relationship with, we have a lot of strong relationships, but Pat is one of the world's great human beings, and he and his family who run
Quite possibly the smiliest man on the planet.
He's busy little bugger. Anyway, he's put in a couple of $100 Aussie, and we have to decide the best contribution we got from a listener. And it was a difficult one this month, and I just made the ruling without talking to you blokes, as I normally do. I've gone for Phil Shearer. Now, the reason I did it was very simple. All he did was he wrote in and said he's been doing a bit of pre-testing of the Rum Bunnies, and he's at the
pre-testing.
Hey? Pre-testing, yeah. And they hosted him, and they had him at their closing day pirate party on Friday at their Tauranga, too many different languages, yacht club. So the reason I wanted to pick one, he's the Commodore. So he's one of these people doing all the hard work. He's had to put his whites on, he's got hours in the laundry.
You've got an angle is what you're saying. You're angling this, for maybe a picture on the wall or something?
No, I hadn't thought of that.
Actually, here we go.
No, look, talking about embracing the whole thing, there's a whole lot of elements that make it work. And, the fact that he's really embraced that he's the Commodore, it's a club, it's in New Zealand.
They're unsung heroes, aren't they, Bicey, the Commodores?
Well, yeah, if I ever made it to the club.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, congratulations, Phil. It was...
well done. Well done.
In terms of listeners this week, I completely forgot about what we're going to do on that one, so... Obviously,
we can double it up. We can double it up for next week. We'll put them all on for next week.
Yep. Okay. All right. Rather than
it's been a bit of a hectic week for everyone this week.
Thanks, BP. BP's covering me off there.
Yeah. Because lots going on.
Didn't you get that email from Asif Ali offering us some mobile app services?
Well, I was gonna return
that one from
message.
Australia Post as well.
Yeah. We actually have got a great email, which we probably can't talk about at the moment. I mean, that's probably what threw me a little bit. We got a meeting coming up this week. It could be really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Something about, let's call it a local club, as in local in Australia. So that narrows it down to one of 334.
Yep.
So you pretty much should get it. There's some stuff happening.
There's definitely some stuff happening. Yeah.
Tell you about it later, BP.
Yeah.
No worries. Yeah.
The good one I did get, I will tell you a little, Mike Wilson, just so you know, I did get your email, buddy, and he is talking about he's invited me up to Lake Catharaba, the Queensland Laser Association having their state titles, Lake Catharaba, over the weekend. So this will be going to air just after you're finished. And they're having a sausage sizzle as part of their presentations. And he's invited me up there to hang out with a bunch of laser sailors.
To host a snag fest. You'd be pretty good at that.
Anyway, and he put the boot into the 5-0s as we're going. He hasn't done himself any favours. No, sausage sizzle, Lake Catharaba, great little sailing lake up on the north, on the Sunshine Coast of Queensland. So I might get there, but it is supposed to be piss and rain all weekend, so I'm not sure I will.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep out of that rain stuff.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't like getting wet. All right.
No.
It's hot time with Bice.
Now, it's going to be a difficult one.
I was going to be a bit of a smart-ass fuckaroonie here and basically give you the rundown. give you a rundown of the winners and grinners of the IRC Nationals.
Yep.
Which happened today, of course.
Just wrapped up today. But as it turns out, at time of recording, I'm still sitting in little old Radelaide, and we haven't even made our way to Newcastle yet. But just due to the the workload over the weekend, that's the way it goes. So everyone's going to have to check the results themselves. But
congratulations to
well done, well done to all the winners.
How was that top mark you did in the second race?
And I'm really glad they got us out yachting on Friday when it was predicted to be 30 knots with 4 meter seas. And but so that was a really wise choice, race control.
What we'll do is I'll just say congratulations, and then you can each name a boat, and so we'll go, and then I can edit it.
Oh,
no, but no, it'll be obviously.
No, looking forward. Let's look forward because we're looking forward now.
Yeah. What are the conditions like? Well, what were the conditions like, boss?
Well, it was pretty tricky on the Friday, as mentioned. Pissing down with rain all day, and we were stuck on the dock, and we all went to the Hunter Valley for lunch, as a matter of fact. Unfortunately, there was a bit too much rain. We couldn't play golf, but we all had a lovely day. Yeah.
At the winery there.
Which led to a bit of gout flaring up on the Saturday morning. So I struggled to get around the boat as limber as I normally would, but that didn't matter because there was no wind. Yeah. But there was a fair chop swell left over, so it made it extremely uncomfortable. And so for those young fellas, that kicked on, it wasn't a good day for them. Let's say that. As for Sunday, well, the last race, you couldn't start after 2:30, and that was the only time the breeze came in. So, thanks for everyone for making the effort. No, not at all. But it's going to be a fantastic regatta.
Yeah,
I think it will be.
It was a fantastic regatta.
It was a fantastic
regatta. Past tense, please.
Okay.
Apart from the fact we don't know who won yet.
Yeah, well, we're keeping it secret, you know. We want them to go to the webpage. We're driving people to the webpage.
Yeah, we're building webpage traffic. That's right.
We're trying to help Mark Rothfield and the whole team from Sailfest Newcastle and the media
Sailfest
team.
Newcastle, Australia. Go to the website, check it out, see who won.
Whilst we're in the Southern Hemisphere, just a quick one, boys. Middle Harbour Yacht Club over Easter had the inclusive sailing regatta, which included the Hansies and the 2.4s.
Hansa 303, the Liberty, and the International 2.4 meter R's.
So that was looked like a fantastic regatta on the harbour. So well done to all those guys. The other one worth mentioning is this, where the next Team New Zealand Black Falls, Falling Ferns, whatever they're called, skipper is going to come from the New Zealand Opti National Championships.
Oh, yes.
Which took place in Murray's Bay over Easter, taken out by common name of Barker, as in Mateo Barker.
Yes,
son of Dean Barker. I saw Dino, he was out there, had his chase boat, and I think prior to the last race, he was just trying to talk Mateo into doing the Dino around the top mark, which is the tack. What was it? Tack.
Yeah,
quick
jibe
into tack.
Up, flipper over.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. But no, well done, Mateo Barker. Good, obviously running through the veins down there. Look pretty hot at the top of the fleet. So let's keep it. We love this. We've seen young Italian guy come through. He's now the skipper of, who was skippered the AC40s after winning the Opti Worlds a few times in a row. So let's keep an eye on these things and these kids coming through. It's going to be cool.
Just on that inclusive regatta, there's a couple of things I do want to mention because there's some cool things that they do. So obviously all the different sort of classes there, but you know, there's all sorts of different forms of disability. So some with low vision or deafness or wheelchairs, all sorts of different things. And so one of the things they have out there is an acoustic buoy for vision impaired. So you got to listen. So can you imagine being a vision impaired sailor and having to listen to you two idiots on the course? Because you'd have to pick up on everything.
Imagine that.
That's right.
God.
We could weigh one buoy each, top mark, wing mark, bottom mark.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. And there's Jordan just sitting at the top mark. They'd have to paint that one red, of course. They're for colour for people. They're for the
colour impaired
run on the court. Well, of course, we need some visual stuff going on as well. But just Jordan Spencer, dulcet tones. Wing Mark could be a bit of UBP, just shocking in and out like this guy.
We're just hanging out.
No,
really confusing the visually impaired.
The other thing I do
going
want
up and down, up and down.
There is some great sportsmanship as well, because in the 303, the Hansa 303 class, I think there was quite a battle for Pauline Chamberlain. She's a vision impaired athlete, and she was fighting out for first and second with Chris Simons, and she lost her mask, like snapped her mask in the second last race, and so would have been a disaster, because she would have had a DNS for the next race. And she's a Kiwi, and her fellow New Zealander, Rhonda Ritchie, actually retired and swapped so that Pauline could still continue racing. So she ended up finishing second overall in a tiebreak. But I thought that was worth a mention. I just wanted to
absolutely worth a mention. That's really cool.
But there's quite a bit going on there, so
and there's quite the schedule actually. For the Hunsers and the 2.4s coming up, specifically in this neck of the woods. Not to mention the rest of the world as well. So that's all.
Yeah, the world champs are actually going to be March 25 in the Hansa class at Royal Prince Alfred. So for the overseas people who sail those and haven't thought about coming down, it's a beautiful club, beautiful part of the world, and you definitely do yourself a favour by making your way down. Cool. Yeah. Didn't want to step on your toes there, mate, but I just wanted to mention.
All good. Yeah. So let's move back on north of the equator.
Yeah.
So Princess Sophia in Palma.
Oh, how is the footage?
Yeah, day one.
That looked like unreal conditions.
Yeah.
One of those rare days in the Med. There must have been a really large mistral blowing through, and the swell is the key there. Sometimes you can get it. Living in Valencia for all those years, there was some cracking surfing days. Yeah.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, at time of recording, we don't really have any winners and grinners at this point in time, but we'll be sure to be reporting on that. And obviously, being an Olympic year, this is interesting to see where things and how things are at,
because this is a very important event. So,
and we'll give that a bit more
obviously
attention when we've got the results.
So some of the decisions are made for some of the team positions post this event, some are after the next event in here. But, the final decisions are being made. And then, of course, if there's any controversial decisions, we'll go to the law courts as per is tradition since 1988. But, best of luck to everyone competing. But, that footage from the first day, it was just unreal, wasn't it? Yeah, it's just unreal. It was so cool, so cool. Imagine being out there racing on those things. That would have been so much fun. But anyway, very cool. What else you got, my friend?
I think that's it, boys. Unfortunately, just a bit of a whip through. But like I said earlier, it's we kind of in that transition zone between things wrapping up down south and things heating up north.
It is very much that.
Very good.
I think BP said it before. They're excited about the start of the French sailing season, and I think
there's a lot of things going on this time of year. And just I did mention it earlier. Quick shout out to our good friend Scott Shaw, who's taken it back on again. Leaves on Thursday to sail across the Atlantic solo in his 60, so it's a qualifier for the IMOCA. So he's still putting his foot down. Wish the best of luck for him. Obviously had a troubled TJV, but still putting in the effort. Well, best of luck to you, Scott.
Nice. He's going to get himself a little X2 to do a bit of practice, I'm assuming.
It's not far away for him.
Yeah, there we go.
No
wonder he's your friend.
We're doing his right now. And he said his comment was, "I can't wait to not get my hands on it." And I sort of thought about it for a second, and I thought, that's a perfect way of talking about it. So he just wants to rock up, go sailing, and then go back to his IMOCA because he's bloody hands-on with his IMOCA.
Yeah, boats, hey? Boats. Yeah. Cool. All right, boys, well, let's call it then. Another great episode. Thanks, Hugo, for spending time with us. Thanks, Bicey, for fitting us into your schedule.
Spending time with us.
Yeah. And
we know how it is, mate. It's just crazy at the moment, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yep. And love to your family there, bud. And also thanks to our friends at Radix Nutrition for offering the opportunity to provide discounts. So if you do want to jump on board to Radix Nutrition, want to be faster, simpler and healthier, just go to the Radix Nutrition website, Barkarati as the discount code, and get some cheap Radix on us. Have a great season, regatta, week, whatever you're doing. Remember, cheers at barkarati.com if you want to send anything through, and you've got a chance of winning $200 voucher from our friends at Barkarati. See you next week.
Beauty.
Bye-bye.
Yo.
Another big one next week. Always big. Always big. Oh, you're getting into it, BP. And our apologies to all the Portuguese people who had to listen to BP play guitar this week.
Mate.